I used AI to create hundreds of blog posts in minutes and got hundreds of thousands of page views within a week. Here's how I did it. But wait, this might not actually work for you unless you have a well-established personal brand like what I've built by publishing on blogs and publishing on YouTube and social media for the last 10 years. Also, I don't think it's going to work for me very well because Google's going to figure out what I did and they're just going to hit me in the next algorithm update. Oh, also, I guess as users come to my website and they see all this garbage content that I published in a matter of minutes, it's probably going to damage my reputation and personal brand. So actually, I don't recommend doing anything like what I just described for you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the right way to actually leverage AI tools without damaging your personal brand or falling into the traps that so many others do. I want to help you discover the smarter ways to use these tools to lead toward better long-term growth. Okay, so give me just a second to lay the groundwork here because I am not anti-AI, I promise you. I am so excited by what we're able to do with AI today and how it can help your brand and your business. I know it has completely disrupted blogging and that has changed probably forever, but we can leverage it in such a good way to be so much more effective and be able to create far better content. So I use some analytical tools to try to understand the content you're watching. That way I can better make sure that the content I create fits your interests and your needs and all of that stuff, right? Basically exactly what we as content creators know and do and teach all the time. Now, as I look at that, I'm a little bit concerned because a lot of the most popular content I'm finding that's being viewed by a lot of you is all about how to make a bunch of money as quickly as possible with no work using AI. And that sounds really exciting, right? But that is literally the recipe for snake oil. 100% the recipe for snake oil. It's never long lasting. You might make a few bucks, but chances are by the time they made that video, it's too late. And whatever it is that you're gonna do, it's only gonna last until everybody else figures it out or until somebody else figures out how to stop it from working because you're usually going around some sort of a system. Now look, I love AI. It's incredible. We just need to stop looking for how we can use it to shortcut our way to fast money, and we can use it to completely eliminate all of our thinking and all of our creativity and basically take ourselves out of all of the work that we do. Instead, let's start looking for all of these awesome ways that we can use these AI tools as content creators. I want to share just a few with you that I'm currently doing right now that are completely changing the way I do business. But first, let's thank the sponsor of this video, Cloudways. Cloudways is who I use to host all of my websites. You need a website, you go to Cloudways to host it. We'll talk about some really cool things they have in a few minutes. But first, let's dive back into the content. I recently paid money to literally be on a Zoom call where we learned how to use OpenAI's API with a couple of other free tools to create an avatar. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, an avatar, essentially all we're doing is we're taking a bunch of ideas and beliefs and demographics and all that, right? For maybe a concept of a person who's our target audience and using that to train an AI so that we can ask it questions and it can give us feedback as if it were our target audience, which is great, right? It can help us create good content for them. But no, this was incredible. This took it not a step further. It was like a giant leap further. The guy that hosted this call is a guy named Tristan Goodwin. He's become a friend. Awesome dude. You should go look him up. I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm going to put several links in the description today. Completely unpaid, right? These are not affiliate links. These are just people who are doing amazing things that you need to know about. Because as content creators, this is where the gold is. Okay, so here's what Tristan taught us. He showed us how to use these tools, almost entirely free, to be able to create an avatar of an actual living human being. Literally in under an hour on the call, we created an avatar that will respond as if it's Andrew Huberman. We used all of the content he's ever published in all of his podcasts, all of his YouTube videos, scraped them, literally all of this in under 1 hour. And now we have a bot that literally we ask it questions and it responds with the knowledge that he's shared in all of his content, as well as using his words. Think about the potential applications for your website, for your business. Think about how you could use this for support. You could literally have a chat bot on your website that can answer questions as if it were you. using all of the content you've ever published, your blog posts, if you've done YouTube videos, social media posts, it could literally talk as if it were you and give people answers to their questions based upon things you've actually written and said. Tie this together with automations and you could actually have it respond to basic emails and route certain emails to you that it doesn't know the answers for, saving you tons of time as your business grows. You could also create an avatar of yourself using all of your own content and use it to help you write new content, literally using your words, your voice. It's amazing. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit more about using this to create content in a way that's gonna blow your mind. First, I wanna talk to you about how I'm using it to ideate. I'm using tools like Spotter Studio for my YouTube videos. I'm using ChatGPT as well to help me with YouTube video planning, as well as other content planning. And what these are doing for me is they're helping me to brainstorm as if I had a huge team of creatives, and it's doing it instantaneously. It's saving me loads and loads of time, and it's giving me suggestions that are backed by actual data because it's connected to YouTube, and it can see my analytics, it can see the videos you're watching and tell me which ones I should maybe make content like, because you seem to really like it. I'm using ChatGPT with some custom GPTs, some that I've built or we've built here, some that I've gained access to from awesome people, again, like Tristan. And I'm using these to take my concepts and my outlines for videos and to build on them and improve them and fill in gaps and help me make my videos more and more engaging so that, the people that watch them are more likely to watch them a little bit longer. This is giving me the power of that massive creative team without needing a massive creative team, and it's saving me loads and loads of time. Now, we can use ChatGPT and we can do the exact same thing for blog posts. What if instead of having ChatGPT or some other AI writer come up with all the ideas and all of the outline and everything for your blog post, which seems to be what a lot of people are teaching you to do, what if you just gave it your knowledge and some of your words by literally feeding it your blog posts and then giving it your additional ideas for your new blog post, right? So you want to write a new post on a new topic? Great. You train an avatar to be you, but then you just feed it your ideas for this blog post. Maybe feed it some of your own stories and anecdotes, and then you craft this blog post together. It can still be done in minutes, but instead of having to take something that the AI generated out of the blue and then going to a step of humanizing it, what if instead it was human-made content in collaboration with AI that saved you a boatload of time? It'd be kind of like if you had a personal assistant where you could just kind of like dump all your ideas and then your assistant could take all those ideas, organize them all for you, put them into your voice and include the stories that you just shared with them, and they could do that all literally in seconds. It's your ideas, it's your unique thought, and it's your anecdotes, and that makes it your content. And this strengthens your personal brand instead of potentially destroying it in the pursuit of mass content instead of good content. This brings me to my next application, and oh my gosh, this is so freaking ninja. But first, let's talk briefly a little bit more about Cloudways. Now look, I get a lot of sponsorship opportunities for this channel, and I turn almost all of them down. And yet I've been making a lot of videos where I talk to you about Cloudways, and that's because Cloudways actually is someone I recommend. Over the recent weeks, I've showed you really cool features on Cloudways, such as how you can easily and quickly create a staging site so that you can make a bunch of changes to your website on the back end with nobody in the real world having to see them. And then you can test it and make sure everything's working just right. And then when it's all good, you push it live. We've talked about security and how on Cloudways, built in, we have some really, really good security features. And then for a very inexpensive cost, you're able to have high quality enterprise level. We're talking about the kind of security that big companies are paying for, and yet Cloudways is pulling in those exact same services, and they're doing it at a fraction of the cost because they're able to scale it across their big customer base. I'm literally currently hosting 44 different websites on my Cloudways servers, and I'm doing that at a fraction of the cost of what I've paid at the last 3-4 hosting companies that I've used. It's incredible to me, the value that we're getting out of Cloudways, and you can start for free. This is actually one of my favorite things. When you go and you sign up for Cloudways, you can set up a server, you can start creating your website, and for the next 3 days, you can play around with it without ever even putting in payment information. If you decide this is something I like and I'm gonna go ahead and keep using it, then at that point, cool. You can pay for it and you can set it up. Also, they'll give you a discount. Just go use my link that I'll also have in the description of this video. And you're gonna get the best price that they offer right now for Cloudways hosting. So if you're looking for a hosting provider, or maybe you're coming to the end of the first discount term that you're getting with one of the inexpensive hosts out there and realizing that when it renews, it's gonna be 5 times the price you paid before, maybe it's time to go look for a better option. This will probably actually cost you less than your inexpensive shared hosting. So go give it a look. All right, I told you this next one was Ninja. It really is. This has actually been life altering for me over the last couple of months. When I went to Vid Summit, I got to have a dinner with people from Spotter Studio, and they invited this guy, Jeremy Utley, and holy cow, I was sitting next to him at dinner, I had no idea who he was, and we got to talking, and it turns out that he's this guy from the Stanford D School, and he's all about ideas. And that's what Spotter Studio does, right? They generate ideas. And so they're pulling in a lot of his concepts into the tools that they're building. And so they wanted him there to meet creators and stuff. And we talked all evening about these cool things that we're all using AI for. And this guy just blew our mind. This one here is gonna change your life if you use it right. He described for us how he's using ChatGPT, the app. Get it on your phone. He's using it in voice mode to literally just have conversations. And then he can just brain dump a bunch of stuff into it and have it ask him clarifying questions and all sorts of stuff. And at the end of a conversation, he can get all of these thoughts from his own brain organized in a great way and in whatever format he wants to be able to use it later. He talks about how he can use this after a meeting where he can just take all these thoughts and things running through his mind, he can just talk to it and get a summary of all of kind of the epiphanies maybe that he had during the meeting. But one of the really cool things he told us about was he was working on an article, and it was something where he was collaborating with somebody else. He talks about this in his book. It's called Idea Flow. In fact, it's right here. Okay, had to go get it. This book, Idea Flow. You should get it, by the way. If you're a book person, I think there is an audiobook for it because I have that too. Anyway, I promise that was not intended to be a sales pitch. This is intended to be a help you pitch. These are the kinds of things that are gonna change your life. Anyway, he's working on this article in collaboration with somebody else. He has all these thoughts and ideas of things that he wants to communicate to the other author. And so what does he do? He goes out to his driveway and he shoots basketball, throwing him into the hoop for like a half an hour. All the while, he's talking to ChatGPT, having a conversation, sharing the thoughts, having it ask him questions in response to clarify any points, anything that was confusing, fill in the gaps, right? And then at the end, he says, okay, well, summarize for me everything that we've talked about. Gives him a summary. He says, okay, that sounds good, but what about this point? Tell me more about this one. So he prompted it like, hey, I felt like we said more about that. Oh yeah, and it goes and gets a little bit more. And then he says, okay, cool, well, that's really good. Why don't you take all that and I want you to draft an email to this person that outlines all of those things. Just tell them exactly what I'm thinking. I want you to start it off in a certain way, like give them credit for a certain thing that they did. Like he just told it what he wanted it to do and it crafted this email. And when it was done, he looked it over and he pulled out his phone because you get the whole transcript in text when you use the voice mode. He copies, he pastes into his email client, maybe makes a couple of brief tweaks and sends this email. Now, it's like I said earlier, this is like if you're just in your driveway playing basketball and you literally had a personal assistant standing there taking notes of everything you just kind of said and said, hey, can you ask me some clarifying questions? And then it remembered everything you said and asked you questions to fill in the gaps and then filled them in. And then you asked for a summary and instantaneously that personal assistant could summarize and organize all the information you just shared. And you can do this basically now for free. This is mind-blowing, the impact that this can have. Literally, I've had conversations with it as if it were my therapist. You can literally have it help you talk through any problem you want. Now, here's the application for content creators specifically. What if you go on a walk? What if you are playing basketball in your driveway and you just put in your earbud or whatever, and you just have a conversation with ChatGPT while you do it, and you say, look, I'm gonna write a blog post, it's about this. And let me just tell you what I'm thinking, the thoughts that I have. And then you just start talking through all the things that you've been thinking you'd want to include in this blog post. You can even share stories and all your personal anecdotes and all that. You just tell it everything. And then when it's done, you just say, hey, can you summarize everything I said? It summarizes it for you. And you say, okay, what am I missing? Have it ask you clarifying questions. And then it starts to ask you questions, you fill in the blanks, and then it starts to fill in some of the blanks too. And at the very end, you say, okay, cool, now I want you to craft that into a blog post. And it does. And then you look it over and you say, hey, that's a really good blog post. And guess what? It's almost entirely my words. It's my stories. It's my thoughts. I copy and paste into my WordPress or whatever client you're using to manage your website. You don't even have to type anymore. And you can write perfectly unique custom blog posts using your thoughts, your ideas, your creativity that'll be better and more engaging than any blog post you've maybe ever written before. That's incredible. And we don't have to be lazy. We don't have to stop thinking. In fact, doing this, you're probably going to strengthen your personal brand, not damage it. Now, I told you this guy, Jeremy, he's amazing. You should go to his website because he has an email list. And again, he's not paying me. He doesn't even know I'm saying this. He's got like a 10-day boot camp. It's a generative AI boot camp that's going to teach you other cool methods that he uses, literally just using ChatGPT. You could just do this for free. And every content creator needs this. Go sign up for his email list and get the 10-day free generative AI boot camp. You're just going to get an email every day with the answers. And then he's like the least spammy person that has an email list I've ever met. So go check it out. All right, so here's the point. AI, it's kind of like a super-powered car, right? Just an amazing supercar. Without a driver, it's just an amazing tool. But with a skilled driver, it's even better. When you learn the best ways to use AI, when you learn how to go back and forth and iterate with AI, suddenly it becomes the most powerful thing for content creators, for creatives in general. You can do so much with it. But if you expect it to just do everything for you so that you don't have to think anymore, basically you're like a child in a super powered sports car. It can't be used to almost any of its potential. And literally any other person on the road could drive that car just as well or better. So if you're going to use AI like a child, you're going to get the results that literally every other person on the internet is able to get. And that's never going to make you stand out. It's never going to build you a personal brand. And honestly, it's probably not going to make you any money. Not fast, not slow, never. So don't ever let AI try to replace your personal or your brand identity, your voice, your values. Use AI thoughtfully so it can amplify your voice and allow you to create so much more. The best AI results come when it's paired with you, your creativity, your experience, and your values. Now, I'd love to invite you right now to share your successes and your struggles with AI right here in the comments, because I really want to build a community of content creators who are using AI the right way. So thanks for joining me today. We'll see you in the next video.